This is Dateline News and Conversation. The topic for the show tonight, Serbia and Kosovo. The problems, trouble rising, and we're going to hear from Dragana Trifkovic, who is in Moscow right now, but she is from Serbia, from Belgrade, to bring us up to date on what is going on in her country. Dragana, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be again in your show.
So it's all over the news. I don't know if it's being reported in the United States and anywhere else, but around here, there's a flare-up in Kosovo. Can you tell us, first of all, a little bit of the background between Serbia and Kosovo? The historical background is very important, I think, for
Yes.
understanding what is happening today and what is happening and what's the position of your government.
Yes. Thank you very much for your questions. For us, it's very important to speak about this because the Kosovo is our really the biggest problem now, and it's a main national interest of Serbian people to speak about this and to I think other people can understand what is going on. As you ask first about the history, I will say that Kosovo is ancient Serbian territory. It's the cradle of Serbian state. So it's the spiritual center for Serbian people, for Serbian Orthodox Church. So we are very connected with this territory. It's not only the 15% of Serbian territory, but we are not considering this territory like a land. It is, as I said, the Serbian cradle, the cradle of Serbian state. So we had the problems with Albanians and with Albanian separatism a long time ago, in the time of former Yugoslavia as well, but it escalated all in the 90s before the NATO bombing of Serbia. In 19A, the so-called Kosovo Liberation Army was at the list of terrorist organizations in the United States. But in that time, the Bush and Clinton decided to erase this terrorist organization from the list of terrorist organizations and to start to cooperate with them with the goal to occupy the territory of Kosovo, because the United States wanted to build the biggest U.S. military base on this territory at the Central Balkan. And our government in that time didn't want to allow these foreign military forces on our land. So they made the plan and they start to cooperate with terrorist organization Kosovo Liberation Army, and they instructed and financed this terrorist organization, supported them, and they started to attack the Serbian forces, the military forces, the special forces at the Kosovo. So in 1909, we had the contra-terrorist action of Serbian special forces on the territory of Kosovo. It was in the village of Račak. The name is Račak. In that time, the head of the OSCE was the American, I can say agent, William Walker, and he organized the special operation there. As I said, it was a counter-terrorist operation, and military and police officers killed, I think, around 40 terrorists in this village, Račak. But William Walker arranged to change the terrorists were in uniform. with the emblems of terrorist organization, and he arranged to change their clothes in the civilian, and he invited the journalists. In that time, it was in 90s. We didn't have alternative medias, independent journalists, bloggers, or even we didn't have internet media in that time. We had only mainstream Western medias, 90%. So they organized, he organized, invited the journalists. They took a picture of this killed terrorist and published everywhere that the Serbian government, Serbian people are killing innocent Albanian civilians. And that was the reason to start the NATO aggression, the NATO bombing. And NATO bombed 78 days Serbia and Serbian people. I was 23 years old in the time. And I remember, of course, everything. I was in Belgrade. They bombed our schools, our industry, our roads. And this was the biggest disaster. But in that time, they destroyed totally, as I said, our infrastructure in Serbia. And this bombing ended by agreement. The name is Kumanovo Agreement. And on the base of Kumanovo Agreement, they, in Security Council of UN, there was agreement on Resolution 1244. And in this resolution 1244, they guarantee the Serbian sovereignty and integrity, including the territory of Kosovo and Metohija. Kosovo and Metohija is the south. It's the southern Serbian province, autonomy province. So this resolution of UN Security Council is guaranteeing the Serbian sovereignty and territorial integrity. But Americans didn't want to everything to be finished on this. Of course, since they occupied the Kosovo territory, after bombing, United Nations was the one who takes care about security on this territory, and also the NATO forces. The name of this NATO mission is KFOR. So they are their mission is there to ensure the security and the peaceful this process. But actually their mission there is to create the so-called independent state of Kosovo, and to finish this American project, because this is the American project of Kosovo independence. So this is the history of this conflict. But after all of this, in 2008, the Kosovo separatist structures, they pronounced independence, and United States, Germany, France, and other Western countries recognized this independence. I will mention that they didn't organize the referendum before this, so just they decided and they pronounced this independence without any referendum or democratic referendum or something else. And this is, we can compare this with Crimea. They don't want to recognize the results of democratic referendum at Crimea, but they want to recognize so-called Kosovo independence without any referendum. In 2004, the Albanians organized terrorist attacks on Serbians who lived in the territory of Kosovo. The NATO soldiers in this KFOR missions was just standing and watching these terrorist operations. They burned 150 old Serbian monasteries and churches because this is really ancient territory. We have 1,500 monasteries and churches on this territory from Middle Ages, from Middle time. So this is really, as I said, the cradle of Serbian state. And they burned 150 monasteries, and they attacked the Serbs who lived there, burned also their houses. I even found the picture of American soldiers standing and taking pictures in the front of burning house of Serbians. And they wanted, of course, to ethnically clean this territory from Serbian people. So now we have around 120,000 Serbians who still live in this territory, and we have 250,000 Serbs who are the refugees now in central Serbia from Kosovo. It's not allowed to them to return back to their homes at Kosovo. And we are listening all the time in the Western medias that about new democracy in Kosovo. There is no democracy in Kosovo. It's a really terrorist state. It's a hub for organized crime, for even from organ trading, for narco trading, for everything what is wrong. So this state was created like the hub for all problems for Europe. And even there are a lot of Albanian refugees from Albania and from Kosovo as well in the Western European countries. My colleagues are complaining that they have a problem with criminal Albanian structures and narco trafficking. But the problem is that governments of European countries supported this in the project of independent Kosovo.
Okay, you did clarify something. There are 120,000 Serbs who were living in Kosovo. Are they the majority or a minority?
Now they are minority. Now they are minority. I said more than 250,000 Serbs are refugees now in central Serbia, and we have around 700,000 Albanians, Kosovo Albanians, who live now in this territory. In the past, it was around 2 millions, but I think more than 1 million are now in Western Europe, because Western Europe created this lovely democracy at Kosovo, and Albanians decided to go in Europe, I mean in Germany, in Austria, in Switzerland. There are too many Albanians in Switzerland, for example. So this is a proof that this project is not too much successful.
All right, I have to ask you, because we've talked about the United States using soft power all over the world and hard power through coups, political assassinations, military interventions. Why do you suppose the United States and NATO bombed Yugoslavia, Serbia? Why are they causing these problems? Are you, well, just answer that for me. Why is this happening? What are they really trying to do?
As I said, I was 23 years old when the Serbia was bombed by NATO, led by United States, and in that time I wanted to go I wanted to join the military to defend my country, but in that time it wasn't allowed for women to be in military. So I was very disappointed. But in that time I started to research this conflict and this start to be my job to research the conflict zones, the conflict, and of course, I wanted to find out what is the reason for this. And I think the reason is, of course, I said that Americans wanted to build the biggest military base in the Balkans, and they built this camp Bonstil. Idea is the problem is not only Serbia. I can find that kind of conflicts in the Middle East, in Palestine, in Lebanon, in the many other countries, in Syria as well, now in Ukraine. The idea is to divide the people and then to find out about the differences between either religion differences of ethnical differences, and then to work on deepening these differences and create the conflict on this base. So idea is to manage this conflict after creating. So that is why the Americans now are really controlling the Balkans, and they control not only Kosovo, they control the Serbian government, the Serbian president, but also the Serbian opposition. So they control everything. And the people in Serbia are pro-Russian, 90%, and they are against this American policy. But they maybe a lot of them cannot understand that Americans are really controlling us, because they control the political elites, they control the institutions, and they don't care, because people don't support Americans since they have control. So this is the problem. Maybe it's not a good word to say only Americans, because even we don't know who is making decisions for collective West or for Western powers, because I don't think so that Biden is one who is making the decisions. So the main problem is to understand who is leading these structures, who is making decisions in the name of Western powers. We have a lot of different structures like NATO, like monetary system fund, like other economic or security structures, but we really don't know who is the head, who is the head. So this is the situation now. Our government is fully under control of Western powers. Our president is pretending that he is pro-Russian, and they allowed him to pretend, because they know that more than 80, or we can say 90% of Serbian people are supporting Russia. We have a common history, a common roots. We have one religion. We are also Orthodox. We have a common history as well. And in the past, the Serbians and Russians was always on the same side of front in the First World War, in the Second as well. So we are very connected to Russia. But Western powers don't want to allow that, and their main idea is to cut the Russian influence on Balkans, and they are really hard now working to finish this second project. I mean, first is this independence of Kosovo, and second is to cut every connection between Serbia and Russia, and Balkans and Russia, and of course, they plan to build a new wall between Europe and the rest of Euro-Asian continent, or between Europe and Russia. So we have Prime Minister, which is anonymous for our citizens, for our people. We don't know at all who is she, she's background. Only we know that she used to work for American NGO. She finished education in United States, but no one in Serbia didn't vote for her. So she was brought to power. We have a president who is pretending that he is pro-Russian on his words, but actually underground, for example, he is supplying the Ukraine with weapons, uh, everything under American control. He's supplying to some Middle East countries, or from last year, one plane supplied with weapons. It was Ukrainian plane. The weapons were from Russia, from Serbia. The plane was crashed in Greece, if you remember. So this is the one example. And he's pretending that he's Russian friend, but now he really, from the time when special operations started, he really cut all communication with the Russian government. And recently, the president of Republic of Serbia from Bosnia and Herzegovina, from other country, but from Serbian entity, visited the Moscow, and he had a meeting with President Putin. I'm talking about Milorad Dodik, the leader of Serbs in Bosnia. But our president don't want to have a meeting with Russia, with Russian government or with Russian president, and he really don't care about Russian opinion. We didn't hear only once that Russia wants to support the Serbia, especially to support the Serbian sovereignty, integrity, and support for Serbian Kosovo. But our government is not inviting Russia to help us. So Russia cannot help us if government is not asking for help. And as you said, in recent days we can find a lot of informations about new riots or new clash between the Serbian citizens and the KFOR, NATO, and the Albanians, Kosovars and Kosovo. And it's not, as I said, continuously it is happening. And every time is finished with that our president is calling NATO, who is occupying the Kosovo. He's asking the NATO and the American ambassador to solve this problem, not Russians, not Chinese. And ambassador of United States in Belgrade, his name is Christopher Hill. In '98, he was together with Richard Holbrooke visiting this terrorist organization, Kosovo Albanian terrorist organization, Liberation Army of Kosovo. So he is the one who supported this terrorist organization in the name of United States, and probably he made the deal with this terrorist organization. And now he is ambassador in the Belgrade, and he's actually coordinating and controlling everything. So for us, it is a big problem because our people at Kosovo are alone. They don't have police, they don't have army, they don't have anything. They are fighting just against this aggression just with their hands. We, in the past, it was in 2013, our government signed the Brussels Agreement, and they decided to integrate the Serbian institutions like police and the judges. Also, the Serbian judges became the Kosovo judges, and the Serbian policemen became the Kosovo policemen. So they switch off the Serbian institutions in territory of Kosovo, and then they integrated these structures in the independence Kosovo. So it's not only problem NATO and US. The problem is the main problem, I will say, is our government, because without these decisions, they will not be able to finish this project of Kosovo independence.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's happening everywhere, really. The United States um is doing this kind of thing all over the world. I know that the United States is always worried about Russia meddling in our elections in America, and it's been categorically proven was false. There's no longer any doubt. And yet, the United States has been involved in the interference in elections of 80 countries. And that's not counting coups, political assassinations. And so it seems, as you mentioned, that the tactic is to divide people ethnically according to religion. You can see that in the Middle East. You can see it all over, well, Eastern Europe and Western Asia. And they've created this conflict basically to destabilize the world, as you're saying, and to control it.
Yes.
And Russia is the target. Russia is the one that's opposing all of this. Russia's too strong militarily, the largest nuclear arsenal in the world. They have been trying to attack Russian culture, Orthodox religion. They vilified Russia. They vilified President Putin. And this is what they do. You mentioned who's behind this. And I'm always quick to point out, well, let's call it who it is. It's the United States of America. But really, it's not Joe Biden. It's not any of the presidents. I wonder if you agree these people have names, but they're not very visible. And they're not just in the United States. Would you agree with that this is kind of a globalist effort?
Yes. That is why I said it's not only United States. Yes.
Yeah. And they're using the United States, such a large economy and an enormously large military. I don't believe it's as powerful as people think, but they use it as a battering ram. So I have one last question for you, Dragana. What is it that provoked and who provoked this recent conflict in Kosovo and Serbia? Who provoked that? Was it the Serbs? Was it Serbians in Kosovo that are rebelling? What exactly is going on?
Recently, we had the elections in Kosovo. The elections were organized by these separatist structures of so-called independent Kosovo. And first time in 10 years, our president Vučić suggested to Serbians who live at Kosovo to not to be involved in these elections. So the Serbians boycotted these elections, and we have 4 municipalities at the north of Kosovo, where Serbians are more than 95% of citizens. So they boycotted the elections, and only 3% of Albanians voted, and they elected the Albanians head of these municipalities. It was in April, and now they wanted to take over these buildings because they think this 3% of voters it's enough to become the head of this municipality. I think idea was and that was agreed with Americans. That Albanians should take over the control of these municipalities where Serbians are majority. But what it was agreed between Kosovo, these separatist structures, between our government, and as I said, that Americans are coordinating everything and controlling. So our government agreed on that they will actually they already uh, gave the control of this territory to Albanians fully, to these separatist Albanians. They built the border between Kosovo and the rest of Serbia. The, I mean our government, and they did everything to help to Americans to finish this independent Kosovo project. So a few days ago, this Albanian's head of municipality wanted to take over the buildings, and at the same day, our president Aleksandar Vučić organized a meeting protest in Belgrade, protest to support his policy, because all the time he's saying that he's protecting our national and state interests, that he's fighting for Serbia and Kosovo and so on. And if you understand what he's really doing, he's giving up. He's giving our territory to Albanian terrorists. And he decided at the same day to organize this protest in Belgrade to help Albanians to take over the buildings, because he organized the buses for Serbians who live at Kosovo to come to Belgrade on his protest. And the main thing is that he bring them with Albanian buses, because we don't have any more buses at Kosovo. So Albin Kurti, this leader of Albania, gave the buses for Serbians to come to Belgrade, and the rest one who didn't want to come for this protest, they just organized the peaceful protest in the front of building of this municipality. But then the clash started, because the Kosovo police was very upset. The Serbians didn't want to allow to this head of municipalities to take over the building, and then the real starts and clash. The Albanian police, Kosovo police, started to. They had these shock bombs and tear gas, and at that time the NATO KFOR was there, protecting the background, and they also was involved in this conflict between Kosovo police and Serbian citizens. NATO wanted to help to Albanians, and we have more than 50 injured Serbian citizens, and more than 40 NATO soldiers, which is very strange if we see the pictures. The NATO soldiers and the Kosovo army, it's with full military equipment, and the Serbians only with their hands. So it was very strange to find out. But this is really, we can say, proof that Serbian people who live in Kosovo are very mad. And it was also one situation that Serbian citizens attacked also the Serbian list. There was one former deputy from the Serbian list. Serbian list is the branch of Serbian Progressive Party. It's Vučić's party. And Serbian citizens attacked this ex-deputy because they understand that the government is working against them. They even don't have only problem with Albanian terrorists and U.S. Army at occupied Kosovo. The biggest problem they have with Serbian government and with Serbian president, because he actually is working against them. And for them, the main problem is Belgrade. It's Serbian government, not Albanians and Americans, because they really are not able to finish this project of Kosovo independence without support of our government. And also we have now big protests, demonstrations in Belgrade. Recently, there were two very tragic situations when a young man killed 10 people in one village near Belgrade, and before this, one boy in the school killed 10 students. I think I already spoke about this. So we have a big demonstrations in Belgrade against violence because we have a problem in Serbia with violence, with corruption, with criminal, and these are all undercover democracy values, because we didn't reach democracy, but we reached this, as I said, criminal problems, corruption, and so on. And the problem is that people are also protesting against our government and our president. But American structures wants to take control over these protests in Serbia, and they are all the time they are sending some opposition politicians um, to take over these protests. This is also the big problem for us. And I think, as I realize what is the idea of United States in Serbia, the idea is to finish this so-called Kosovo independence project, and then to protect the Serbian minority in Kosovo, and on that base to become friendly with Serbia. I think that is the idea of United States. But I think it's very silly idea, because people in Serbia understand really what is US doing in Serbia, and they are not really friendly, because all people remember this NATO bombing in 1999, and this everything what was done in the war in Yugoslavia in 90s. It was also war between Muslims in Bosnia and Serbs, and Croatian and Serb. This was all created by United States on doctrine of clash of civilization, and now they are managing these conflicts. The people are really bad living everywhere in Bosnia, in Croatia, and everywhere. But Americans are controlling all Balkans. And when they finished this project of Kosovo's independence and they think they will become the protectors of Serbian minority, of course, they want to destroy all the connections between Serbia and Russia, between Balkans and Russia, because they know only Russia can help Serbia to solve the problems, and especially with Kosovo. So they don't want to allow this, and they will actually afford everything to cut our relations with Russia.
Okay. For people who may not remember you or remember who you are, you're not a politician, you're not a journalist. Tell us again who you are and about your organization.
I'm the Director General of the Center for Geostrategic Studies. It's a Serbian organization, but we have a lot of colleagues from everywhere. And I finished Belgrade University. I'm the expert in engineering and security as well. And also I'm writing and publishing articles Before I publish a lot of different medias, but now everything is under censorship and it's very hard to publish any article. And I also wrote a book, Crimea and Donbass are Russia, whole world is Russia except Kosovo, Kosovo is Serbia. It's a book in Russian language I published last year in Russia, and now I'm preparing the new book in Serbian, how we lose the country, the state.
So, what is the purpose, the focus of your organization? To be really clear.
The focus, we are fighting for independence, sovereignty. We wish to help first to help to our country, but we wish for all country. We need development, not wars. Our idea is to help how is possible to help to stop these conflicts and war, and to help people to create normal relations between themselves, to develop, to cooperate. And I think the whole people can find some way to cooperate and to be friendly. This is our idea. And first idea is to protect our country. We need to have again our sovereignty, to protect our territorial integrity. So we are very dedicated to protect our national and state interest. And the problem is that our government and our president is not doing this, so we are doing their job. This is the idea, and cooperation with many other countries, with many other peoples, experts, on the base of mutual interest.
Well, thank you very much for your time tonight, Dragana. It's always a pleasure to visit with you. Very much appreciate your insight and the wonderful work that you're doing, not only in Serbia, but around the world. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.